having decorations, for example, to churches, to celebrate weddings or birthdays. But it's a wonderful view, as we can see, something typical for Poland. And if you would like to buy typical souvenirs from Poland, I highly recommend you to invest in necklaces or bracelets made out of wood, red corals basically. Traditionally, we say that if you wear this kind of jewelry, it should boost your health, wealth, prosperity and vitality. So it's a great investment because one bracelet made out of wood costs around 2 euros. So it's worth trying, I believe. Because it's naturally built on the rock, and it's called St. Michael and Wisła Church. 12th century, tragic king happened here. So basically, Bishop of Kraków, St. Stanisław, was looking for a mass of the year, when our king, Władysław II, decided to visit him here during the holidays. Taking this back into the fight, there is a big argument between those two. And at some point, the king decided to kill the bishop Stanisław. Afterwards, king had to leave Poland, and Stanisław became saint. Until today, we don't know what was the fight about, but as Stanisław became saint, well, we can believe that king wasn't right. This beautiful marble castle on the right side. This part of the castle, which you can see from here, actually was built in the 19th century by Austrians. There was a period of time when Poland didn't exist in the map of Europe, and Kraków was controlled by Austrians, and they decided to build here on the hill a hospital for soldiers. As for some time of the history, castle was a military station for Austrian soldiers. Today in this building, it's a ticket office, so if you would like to experience beautiful expositions at the Wawel Castle here, you will be able to buy tickets for different expositions. But I need to tell you that actually to see everything would take a few days, and it can cost. So if you would like to have like a really nice holiday, I recommend you to come back to Kraków in November. Because in November, all the expositions at the Wawel Castle here are for free. So you have, some chance to save money and see wonderful things. Besides, actually, if you will choose to come here at the end of November, beginning of December, you would catch free expositions at the Wawel Castle here and also Christmas markets. As in December, we started beautiful Christmas markets here in Kraków. And we have several of Christmas markets here because December is the most busy month. So to divide crowds a bit, we have several Christmas markets here in Kraków. discover, we'll explore another part of Wisła River. So in front of us you can see a building called Jubilat, from word Jubilee, to celebrate 60th anniversary of Russian Revolution. It was built in late 70s. During communistic era. As you might know, Poland was communistic country between 1945 until 1989. So lots of very specific buildings were built during that times, and Jubilat was one of them. Basically, during communistic times, it was really difficult to buy something in the shops. People had to queue for a long time to get basic things from the shops. But here in Jubilat, it was touch of luxury, because here they were selling things from the West, which was incredible experience for people of Poland who didn't have access to those things. Also, local gossip says that in the past, at the top of Jubilat, there was a restaurant, as we can see today is there as well. But back in the 70s, spies would watch Kraków from there to observe what people actually do. In front of us you can see another bridge, which is called the Britsky Bridge, which is connecting two districts of Kraków, the Briki and Salvatore. Actually, from here we have a fantastic viewpoint on the Wawel Castle here, so I highly recommend you to go for a walk of the bridge and make some beautiful pictures. The original bridge was here during Second World War. And when Germans were leaving Poland in January 1945, they actually destroyed the original bridge by placing bombs over here. So we rebuilt it in 1953. As you can see, the bridge is built in a way that it's not far from the water. So when the Wisła's river level is changing, the water is easily entering the street. So it becomes quite problem during points with flood is here. This bridge, as you can see, connects two sides of Kraków. If you would go to the right side and you would walk for 10 minutes, you would arrive to National Museum of Kraków, also from 20th century. So quite wonderful experience to go to. Kraków is quite important city in Polish world. Here Polish kings and queens were ruling Poland for centuries. Several famous people were living here. The one person named Karol Wojtyła, you might know him as John Paul II. He moved here to Kraków when he was a student. He wasn't born here in Kraków, he was born in a different city called Wadowice. But he moved here to study Polish philology, Polish language, basically Polish literature. So he was very brave man because Polish language is quite difficult even for locals, even for native speakers. Yet his youth was tragic because he lost his family when he was young. And during Nazi occupation, during Second World War here, he was alone. He spent here in Kraków over 20 years of his life, so he influenced the city in a good ways. He was a student, a professor, and a bishop later here. So he was leading Holy Mass in St. Mary Cathedral in the center of Kraków, at the main square. By the way, I highly recommend you to see the church as it's an art gallery. Even if you're not a religious person, it's good to enter to see how beautiful the church is inside. Inside you will see a beautiful altar from 15th century built by German artists from Nuremberg. You will also see lots of colorful decorations connected to nature and different things. Like, for example, Sunday should remind you what the night is, so it's a wonderful spiritual experience. Besides, John Paul II, he was really in love with people, and he had one favorite meal when he was living here. So basically, if you wander around streets of Krakow and you go to a pastry shop, I recommend you to buy a cake called kremówka. You can find this cake in many European cities, but for Krakow it's special because it was favorite cake of John Paul II. It's wonderful cake with afternoon coffee. We can see so-called Salvatore District. Here, wealthy people of Krakow in 19th and 20th century started to build their villas. You can not see those villas from here, unfortunately, but in general it's a very insane district, full of wonderful parks. Also here, not far, we have a zoo. So if you don't have plans for next days of your stay here in Krakow, it's another option to do something interesting. Animals are treated well, they're in good hands, so it's a really good place to see. In the 13th century, Krakow was often attacked by Tatars, by Mongolians. And that's why once a year, on the streets of Krakow, we can see a man, bearded man with pointy hat on the horse, whose name is Lykonik. Why Lykonik became a symbol of Krakow? So, when in 13th century Mongolian Tatars were attacking Krakow, they created a settlement close to the city. And as they were close to the town, they were often attacking Krakow, so people were scared. They were living in constant fear that they would attack them suddenly. So at some point, Polish boys from the city decided to go to fix the problem. So they collected an army, their friends, and they went outside to attack Tatars. They didn't come back for several days, so locals from Krakow town started to worry. Until actually army of Mongolians entered the city one day. People were scared, they didn't know what's happening, they believed the Polish army lost the battle. Until one of the soldiers took off his hat, and he showed that he's actually Polish. Polish soldiers wanted to make a joke, wanted to prank locals, to scare them a little bit, but actually they won the battle, and since then this costume of a Tatar soldier became a symbol of Krakow. So, Lykonik doesn't look very Polish, but he's a symbol of Krakow. And on the right side, we can see so-called convent of the Norbertine sisters. This building is here since 12th century, so it's older than Kraków officially, because Krakow got city rights in 13th century. And actually, thanks to the sisters, we have this tradition called to iconic, because they were pushing to create this parade, which happens every June here in Krakow. There's another story connected to 13th century and Pitas. So if you had a chance to be in the center of Krakow at the main square, over there it's St. Mary Church, which I spoke about already. So in 13th century we didn't have St. Mary Church. We had different church which also had towers. Towers were a bit smaller, but on the top of the tower was a trumpet man whose job was to wake up city in the morning by playing the morning song called Hey Now. And his other responsibility was to inform the city about upcoming danger, because he could have seen the surroundings from the tower. One day, once upon a time in the 13th century, he actually overslept. He overslept and Mongolians were already in the center when he started to play the song informing the city about the danger. And of course Mongolian soldiers saw it and heard it, so he decided to fix the problem. He took an arrow, he threw the arrow direction trumpetman, and the arrow cut the throat of the trumpetman. So the trumpetman passed away instantly, and the song was cut in the middle. So nowadays, if you will be in the center at exact hour, you will hear the song being played from the top of the tower. The trumpetman plays it even in the middle of the night, so at 2 a.m. He's still working. And he always plays it to 4 directions of the world: north, south, east, west. Nowadays, you can see the trumpet man by visiting him on the top of the tower, as you can do it by buying a ticket. And, well, you have to burn some calories to do it, because you will need to conquer some steps, right? You will need to pass through some steps to arrive to the top of the tower. Yet you will have the best view in Krakow, because there is a rule that we cannot build taller buildings than St. Mary Church in the center. So it will be the best view on the city from there. front of us we actually see so-called Zwierzyniecki Bridge, the last bridge on our journey. It's actually in so-called Zwierzyniec district, and actually it comes from the ancient neighborhood of Zwierzyniec, which was a place where kings were keeping their animals. So you could find here deers, horses, different kind of things. And also on the field they are doing some kind of games, for the technology, so entertainment of kids.